As city after city in our great country goes into lockdown, people are suddenly becoming a lot more civic-minded, or at least a lot more worried about what's happening in their neighborhoods, which brings me to Nextdoor, the neighborhood-based social networking platform. It's a great way to keep track of your neighbors who might need help or exchange information, learn about your area. Before the coronavirus, people used Nextdoor to spread the word about lost pets, or find a new home, or an old bicycle, or for neighborhood safety, or simply to meet new neighbors. Now, though, it's taken on a whole new significance. So far this March, they have seen an astounding 80% month-over-month spike in daily active users. I bet this is just the beginning. The company's still privately held, but I think it's become an essential component of the new stay-at-home economy. So let's check in with Nextdoor's fabulous CEO, Sarah Friar, formerly the chief financial officer at Square, to learn more about her booming new business. Ms. Friar, welcome back to Mad Money.
Thank you, Jim, for having me. Really appreciate it.
Okay, so Sarah, my wife, who you've met, Lisa, she goes, don't forget, 6:30 tonight, open up the window, go out to the balcony and sing The Saints Go Marching In. And I said, how do you know that? How did she know?
She heard that on Nextdoor. It has to be happening. If it's happening anywhere, it's happening on Nextdoor right now.
And I had no idea because, look, I mean, there's no local paper. There's no, there's no way to stay in touch with each other, even people who are next door to each other. So I think that, what did people do before Nextdoor?
I don't know, but we are the local hub, and we are finding that proximity means everything right now. Nextdoor was founded on trust, so it's real neighbors, real people, real addresses. So a big part of why we were founded was to bring people together and create those trusted connections. As you started to mention, there's also really high utility in Nextdoor. So when we're not in crisis mode, it is a great place to find a plumber, find a great restaurant, for example, or figure out what to do with your kids at the weekend. But right now, during this crisis, we see neighbors putting their hands up to help. We see neighbors putting their hands up to be helped. And it is so uplifting to just see kindness and humanity coming to the fore, even in the middle of a crisis.
Well, I was speaking to my 28-year-old daughter today about alienation. She's in Madrid. And I said, look, I got an idea for you, see. Nextdoor just got to Madrid. You're in Spain. I mean, so this is no longer, she needs community. We're desperate for community. We are so alienated. You're there, too.
It's true. We are in 11 countries, and it has been remarkable in this crisis. I start my days on the phone with Europe, typically going around the horn. Italy, clearly incredibly impacted, and yet there we see the same neighbor-to-neighbor interaction happening. And in fact, I think they started this singing out your doorway motion. We've talked to Spain, to France, to the Netherlands, into the UK. We see organizations like the National Health Service sent a huge post out to all of the neighbors on the platform just yesterday as a way to make sure the most accurate information is getting out there in the world. And then, of course, I often end my days in Australia, which I will say was a little kind of slower here in terms of believing that this was a big deal. And so it's been interesting watching my country managers respond. But it does give you this remarkable preview across the world to look at a platform like ours right now.
And you're also involved with some charities that are so needed. I know that there's a blood shortage in America right now. I also know, by the way, that unless they get blood from people who have already beaten the coronavirus, we don't even know what the antibodies are. So you're involved with the blood drive?
Yeah, so public agencies is a big part of the platform. So pre this crisis, we still had thousands of public agencies on the platform. But right now we're seeing folks like the American Red Cross that you're talking about coming to Nextdoor to really get the word out about blood drives. The CDC designated us an EPIC partner, which means we're an emergency preparedness partner. Even Governor Newsom last night in his State of the State address talked about the power of Nextdoor to really help communities come together. So we are absolutely there for public agencies. We're there for nonprofit organizations like the American Red Cross. We also work a lot with brands, like, say, a Walmart, who might be doing testing centers to make sure that their message is getting out and into the neighborhood when it matters most right now.
It's funny, when I heard that the president talk about how Google's doing a website, my first thought was Sarah Friar. I said, if I want to know where the testing sites are in Brooklyn, I want to go to Nextdoor, because that's what you want. I don't care about what's going on in Iowa, right? I just care about what's going on in my zip code.
It's exactly right. We keep talking about this power of proximity, but we have kind of grown up in a world where you have different graphs. Like, you have your friend graph, but my friends aren't helping me right now. They might be giving me moral support, but they're not going to go get my groceries. Your professional graph, right? We're all stuck on these back and forth, whether it's Zoom or Hangouts or whatever. And again, we check in on each other. But right now, in this moment of crisis, if you need to know what's going on down the street, or you have that elderly neighbor who suddenly can't go out, like this is the moment when neighbors can really help neighbors. We have a group in my neighborhood called Good Fairy. It's all about putting a little kindness back in the world. And I'm seeing college students who are out of college, stuck at home, doing car runs to the local supermarket for a bunch of elderly and more vulnerable people in my neighborhood. And it is so uplifting and just the right thing to do.
Well, I have to tell you, in the halcyon days when we had a restaurant and a bar, which was taken away, but what we would look for mentions of our particularly our restaurant, because my wife's the manager, and she would say, "Hey, that's that Sarah Friar. Can I give her a check to be able to take an ad?" And you always said that's not yet. When will we make it so that we can use Nextdoor for our own purposes to be able to promote?
Sure, local businesses, huge part of every community, right? When they thrive, communities thrive. I actually launched something called Local Deals, so I'm going to have to get on to Lisa and get her on a local deal once business is back. Look, right now for small businesses, and with my Square background, I am obsessed by local businesses. I think there's 3 ways to help them.
Okay.
You talked about food, and I think getting them connected to things like delivery, letting neighbors know if they're maybe offering, a packed up dinner that you could pick up and bring home. If you think about retail, it's teaching them how to do more online, clearly working with folks like a Square or Shopify. And then health and beauty is a very interesting category because you can't go get your hair cut at the moment or go get your nails done. I think things like gift cards could be a way for them to create a bridge between now and when business comes back, because these businesses need cash flow. For Nextdoor in the future, this is a very big deal for us. We're building a whole category around local businesses. You get a free business page today, and then you can do that local deal. But we're going to help businesses post into the feed in a really well done way so that your message is getting carried, whether it's in tough times like right now, or hopefully when we all get back to business.
Well, I think what you're doing is great. You're must-read in our household, whether it be for pets or, yes, my wife said, listen, there was something got stolen down the block. Let's make sure the door, it's all that stuff. It's what we need. It's just what we need right now. Sarah Friar, CEO of Nextdoor. It's always great to see you. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you.
Take care.
Stick with Cramer.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @Jim Cramer on Twitter. Have a question? Tweet Cramer. #MadTweets. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.